Avec un l'esposa.
Welcome back to Pretty Pessimistik. We are doing things a little bit differently. I am actually going to try out putting myself on camera. I have actually not posted, besides the video I posted just a couple days ago, for about a month. I've been working on some things. I hope it looks good and sounds good. It's a different kind of a mic setup. So if you don't like it, let me know. If there's anything I could tweak, also let me know. I've got a lot of things going on here in front of me, and I'm not quite used to looking at a camera. I'm more used to scripting and reading a script, so this is a little bit different for me. But this is what we've got for now. Today we are going to be discussing a bit of a strange topic. I was scrolling through conspiracy TikTok, not necessarily conspiracy TikTok, just TikTok, but I guess I'm kind of stuck in a conspiracy true crime area of TikTok. Well, I was scrolling through that and came across some pretty interesting videos, and that kind of took me down a rabbit hole on today's topic. And now some of you may have heard of this and maybe others haven't. From what I know, it is not actually considered a real disease, and that is Morgellons. Imagine waking up one day with a mysterious rash, and then over a short period of time, rash develops sores, and these sores itch profusely. It almost feels like things are crawling all over your body, and then you go ahead and you decide to visit the doctor. And maybe the doctor prescribes you some kind of a topical cream, anti-itch, or even over-the-counter anti-itch medication is the doctor's suggestion. You go home and as prescribed you use these creams, but none of them are working. At this point, you are just as confused and unsure of what's going on with your body as you were before you went to the doctor, and your symptoms are getting worse and worse. These sores that you're developing are getting bigger, and at this point you're feeling like there are splinters coming out of your skin. Those like something is emerging from this wound in your body. And while inspecting this wound, you see a fiber, and it seems like this fiber is actually emerging from the wound. That can't be possible, right? So you begin to tug and pull at this fiber, and it's hard to get it out of your skin, and now you're sure it's coming from the wound in your skin. And you finally are able to pull the fiber completely out. And then it begins to move back toward your body. It seems to be actually making an effort to get to your body. Now that may sound weird, but check out this video.
WTF is this?
The fuck is that shit doing? Y'all be thinking I'm fucking tripping. You see this shit moving? It's trying to get off. It's literally moving on its own. You see it? It's trying to get off because it's stuck to my shirt. These shits are in my head. They're in my body, coming out everywhere. Y'all think I'm fucking crazy.
At this point, there are fibers coming out of your skin that may be attracted to you from sores. We aren't sure what they are, so you begin collecting samples. With these samples, you label them with dates and times and where they emerged from the body, and you plan to take these with you to your next doctor's appointment. So you head to the dermatologist with your samples in hand, date stamped, labeled, and they even tell what part of the body that they emerged from. After explaining the horrific past few weeks to your dermatologist, the look on their face speaks volumes. The dermatologist looks directly at you and says, "I'm not sure that I can help you. Let me refer you to a therapist. Or maybe a psychologist." It's all in your head. That's all you've been hearing. It's all in your head. Morgellons is a quite controversial topic. Many people seem to suffer extreme symptoms from Morgellons. Upwards of 20,000 people in the United States suffer from Morgellons. But the CDC, medical doctors, still do not describe it as an actual disease. Sufferers are told that they are suffering from a non-existent disease. But today, we are taking a look for ourselves. They say that it's not real, but some of this stuff seems to point to a much different conclusion. And maybe Morgellons is a real thing. So I'd like to share some of this evidence with you and get your opinion. Let's decide for ourselves whether we think the conspiracy of Morgellons is real or maybe it's not. Morgellons is a highly debated illness, many people believing that they are inflicted and many others believing that they are suffering from paranoia. Most mainstream doctors do not believe that Morgellons is a real disease, but there are some doctors that do. The ones that don't are quick to discount the symptoms, especially the samples. But there are some doctors that have spent a lot of time studying these samples and even taking their own samples and coming to their own conclusions as well. But before we get into that, I would like to discuss some of the signs and symptoms of Morgellons. Some of the first symptoms that a person will experience or would experience are the skin rashes and the sores that are common with Morgellons. These sores can cause intense itching and scratching. It kind of would probably start out feeling like the after effects of an insect bite, but it would only progress from there. And it will be itchy around the area of the sore. Other people also express symptoms such as a depressed mood, trouble concentrating, fatigue, and even occasionally hallucination. And I have to mention, these are just the most common symptoms. There could be quite a few other symptoms, different person by person. But the most extreme prevalent symptom, specific symptom of Morgellons is definitely the fibers emerging from the wounds or sores themselves. The quote-unquote belief that fibers or multiple colored threads or material in or around the sores are emerging specifically from those itchy sores themselves. And this symptom is the most widely speculated symptom of Morgellons. At this point, I want to show you a couple of these videos that show what could possibly be Morgellons fibers, and these are the videos that got me interested in this whole topic in the first place. These videos are insane, and I'm gonna go ahead and play them now.
You can literally see it moving towards the steering wheel at the bottom. Look at that shit. It's literally just, that was me jumping just then, but watch it, the end of it. And look at the two tops trying to touch each other, kinda. See them moving too? Two different directions. There's no wind, there's no nothing. Tell me that's not fucking nanotech that's coming out of my fucking hair, disguising as my hair.
Anonymous submission received. Ray posting to see if anyone has same thing.
Oh, why is it great? Look at what it's doing. Oh my god.
What the f***?
Oh, hell no. Hell no. Y'all telling me that's static right there, right? That's static? That's static. Oh my god. That's static, right? What do I do with that? Let me know. Another one, this one glitched when I picked it up. Trying to see if it's gonna move. Oh, there it goes. Oh shit, there it goes, there it goes. But I'm bugging, right? This is the headband that I wear, mind you, because my hair moves too much. So I put this around my ears and then wrap my head up with a scarf every day. But I've been spraying with peroxide around my hairline and everything. It's the only thing I can do to try to keep myself from going crazy. Oh my god, it's creepy. I'm shaking, but you can see it moving in different directions. And if it's wind, why isn't anything else blowing? Alright, cut it with a hair. I mean, cut it. I don't think I have scissors. Ooh, shit. Alright, I gotta try to hold it. Can y'all see? Okay, let's see. What can I do? Alright, y'all. Okay, as you can see. Oh, why is it great? Look at what it's doing. Oh my god. Oh, hell no. Hell no. Y'all telling me that's static? Oh, hell no. Hell no. Y'all telling me that's static right there, right? That's static? That's static. Oh my God. That's static, right? What do I do with it? Let me know.
So the biggest sign and symptom of Morgellons are these fibers that come in different shapes, sizes, colors, etc. And the afflicted persons are saying that these fibers are emerging from the body. So the way that I would interpret it is, imagine that you skinned your knee or skinned your elbow. If you have ever skinned an area of your body where you've just scraped off like the top layer of skin and it's sort of like in a half healing state. Now imagine amidst that wound, a fiber is emerging and you pull it out. It's kind of a strange thing to imagine, but you saw the footage. And imagine at that point, the fiber begins to move and fight its way back to your body. I know that makes absolutely no sense, but see it for yourself.
We found in Boston with what we believe was the murder weapon. I didn't recognize mine.
I just want to jump in real quick here and say that in this video, the fiber is only one specific fiber on all of the rest of that ball of hair. So I'm going to point it out here. I am only looking at this one fiber on that entire hair situation.
Results came in. There's no trace of either in his system, but there are antidepressants.
It's part of the treatment.
Yeah, we accept that he was in a manic phase, so antidepressants would have made it worse.
Check this out. When he approached me, he was terrified that someone would get his numbers. I found traces of bleeding, so someone washed this off. So maybe someone killed this algorithm. You get home from work, crack open a beer, and thank him. 360s, everybody talked about the Stones, the Beatles. Now, you know about the Kinks. Go down to Vietnam.
How about your family seems to have buried this in his files? No record of the DA's evidence list. I took the liberty of defragging.
Starting at 6/5 Central. Why isn't there deodorant for privates? Now there is with Lumi, the only natural deodorant you can safely use on your privates. You can use it on heads, feet, or any other stinky crevice. Lumi, keep your privates private.
Yeah, so that is extremely strange. That is one of the weirdest parts to me. I can't imagine that that fiber is literally fighting its way back to her body. And there are other examples. Another thing that I want to add real quick is a lot of people say that it's the wind. If it was any kind of airflow in that area, more than just that one fiber would be moving. This fiber literally looks animated on its own. So yes, these fibers literally seem animated. They seem to be living or moving. It's just watching those clips wasn't enough for me. So that is when I began digging and trying to figure out more about these insane symptoms and fibers that are moving back towards the body. That was insane to me, so I started digging. So these emerging fibers are actually an anomaly themselves. Like I said previously, the afflicted begin to collect samples of these fibers. They will sort them by color, or not necessarily sort them, but they will just put each separate one in a bag, label them by color, date, whatever they can label them by. Some people even put them in dishes. It just depends. But there are collections of these fibers. At that point, what happens is these people, after collecting these samples, they take them into their doctors. And the doctors at that point, they automatically assume some type of paranoid at that point, then they just have some type of paranoid diagnosis. When people come in with the fibers in their own collection, sample, stash, whatever you would call it, they then automatically assume that there is some kind of paranoia behind whatever is happening. And then at that point, doctors go ahead and refer these people to therapists and psychologists, people that can't really help because it is medical, not mental. Imagine that in some cases, these people do become a bit paranoid. If I had fibers emerging from my skin, I think that I would be quite a bit paranoid. That is just insanity. And then to not be taken serious after all of that. You have fibers emerging from your skin and nobody is taking you serious. That would cause a bit of paranoia, in my opinion. But at that point, when paranoia sets in, then people begin to believe that every fiber that they find on their body is from Morgellons. And that's not always the case. I mean, fibers can come off on your body from clothes or hair, or if you sit on a fabric surface, all kinds of things. I mean, look at all the things around you and think about how many of those have a fiber that could come off onto your body. Now, imagine collecting every single one of those. At some point, you end up collecting a regular synthetic fiber. And then, if the doctor so happens to test that synthetic fiber, well, they see that it's a synthetic fiber and they think you are paranoid and they don't believe you. Which is very unfortunate. It's actually pretty unfortunate that that happens, but it does. There are a few doctors who do believe Morgellons is a legit disease, and they have their own ways of handling these things. Dr. Randy Wymore. He did a test where he used a forensic database with every synthetic fiber known to man. I think maybe not everyone known to man, but at least 1,200 different synthetic fibers. And he also had his own patients that he had. And he would collect the samples. So he would tell his patients to leave the fibers in this wound or in the skin, in the sore, until they got into the office. And he would take the samples from the wound directly in the office and then test them against a synthetic or a fiber database, a forensic fiber database. I can't speak.
Microfibers are tinier and carry more charge than microplastics, meaning they may be circulated more quickly throughout global water and air currents and soak up more toxins or microorganisms along the way.
They are so small that they are like little needles that can poke a cell. The microfibers have been found in places as remote as the North Pole. There are now increasing reports of microfibers from Europe, from the United States, of course, from South America, and of course from Asia.
This tested against all kinds of man-made fibers like silk, cotton, wool, polyester, all kinds of different synthetic fiber. Dr. Wymore and his team tested some of his own patients' fibers that they pulled from their bodies. None of the fibers in the database matched the fibers pulled from his patients. Not one. So that meant that none of the synthetic man-made fibers were the same or a match to the fibers that came out of the wound from the Morgellons patient sufferer. So that means whatever those fibers are made of, it is not synthetic or man-made. It is not a pillowcase or a blanket or a couch cushion or a sweater or a t-shirt. It is not. There was not a match. Things like that are cotton, polyester, silk, things like that. None of them matched. What I've seen, I watched a documentary, and in that documentary, they said that the Morgellons sufferers should not take the samples into the doctor's office. They should let the medical professionals take the samples out themselves. They should leave the emerging fibers in the skin until they are in the office and let the medical professionals remove them themselves, as to stop contamination. As tens of thousands of people are suffering from Morgellons, or at least think they're suffering from Morgellons, medical professionals and even the CDC, they do not recognize Morgellons as a legit disease or even an infection. But like I said previously, there are some that do. Not very many doctors will actually see patients claiming to have Morgellons, but Dr. Raphael Stricker. Many believe Dr. Stricker is a pioneer in the field of Morgellons and even a savior to some. Many people also think that he is a bit off as well. So that's the back and forth. Many people and sufferers of Morgellons say he's a pioneer in the field and he's done so much to help them, but there are also many other people that think that he is just as paranoid as Morgellons sufferers in their opinion. But something very interesting, Dr. Stricker has linked Morgellons to another very mysterious disease, Lyme disease. Dr. Stricker says that he sees a correlation between sufferers of Morgellons and sufferers of things like Lyme disease and other bacterial diseases or infections as well. Now, let me tell you, when I heard that Dr. Stricker, or that this doctor had linked or had a correlation to Lyme disease and Morgellons, my brain was like, I saw something that had, I'm going to put a big allegedly across all of this, because I heard a story or possible history that in the Northeast United States there were some people who were doing testing on ticks. Then a mishap happened, these ticks got loose, and now you have Lyme disease. which is quite interesting to me, because if this whole tick debacle allegedly happened and there were ticks that got loose that caused Lyme disease, and then later Morgellons pops up, they already don't want to talk about the mishap with the ticks and the Lyme disease. Why would they also want to tack on something like Morgellons? Oh, also, these ticks or this disease correlates with a disease that creates biologically made fibers that come out of people's bodies and also fight to get back. I mean, it almost sounds like some kind of nanotech or something. It's absolutely absurd. Why would they want to be like, oh yeah, that too? They wouldn't. That he drew a correlation there. Now, there could be nothing behind that. I have to say that. This is all a legend, and this part here is all my opinion. But I found that quite interesting. I should probably make a video about that whole tick debacle as well, because maybe then you guys would also understand why I'm like, dang, they're relating Lyme disease to Morgellons, and I know that I've heard that there was some kind of something that happened with ticks being released, and then, you know, now nobody wants to discuss it or say there's any kind of issues with that. Lyme disease was even a weird one in the beginning. All of it together, in my head anyways, is really sketchy. Allegedly. I'm still really quite a bit unsettled about it, but I do need to look into it a bit more. But Morgellons itself is a really strange disease. To hear your opinions as well. Do you think Morgellons is real? Or do you think it's just paranoia? Because I'm still kind of on the fence. I mean, some of those videos that we saw are very compelling. Morgellons and Lyme disease and a tick cover-up, and that just sounds a lot like the United States for you. Allegedly. It's really weird that the CDC doesn't recognize Morgellons, as many people seem to be suffering. I mean, over 20,000 in the United States. I mean, I know that doesn't seem like many, but it's not like, you know, 1,000 people in the whole United States. 20,000 is a big number, and I think if there's fibers that are emerging out of people, biologically made fibers emerging from people, 20,000 people, that's quite strange. I also know that I have seen videos of Morgellons before a long time ago. If I can find any of those clips, I will insert them here, because those are also quite strange. If not, I'm sorry. If I ever come across them, I will definitely show you guys. What is the deal with Lyme disease? Because that whole tick thing is crazy. I'm telling you, we'll have to come back to that eventually. I will have to do some research and come back to that, because that is just stuck in my brain. Like, it is stuck right here, like insanity. But I have a feeling I'll be on the hunt for that, so that may come in a video eventually. But until that point, that is it for today. I don't know what I think about this still, so let me know what you think in the comments below. Please, if you are interested in any topics like these, or if this topic was interesting to you, hit the like button so that I know and I can talk about more things like this. Also, let me know if you like the whole me in the video thing, because it's kind of different for me, and I'm not gonna lie, I had a heck of a time filming this, but I kind of like it, and I think I could get used to it. If there are any other topics that you would like to see me look into, you can also let me know about that in the comments below, or you can email prettipessimistik@gmail.com. Also, you can check me out on TikTok at Pessimistik, Instagram at Pessimistik, and on Twitter at P_Pessimistik. I look forward to seeing you guys there. Also, I hope you want to keep hanging out, because I will be here. So if you would like to keep hanging out with me, click one of these videos that's going to be popping up right here. Alright, I will see you right over here in just a second. Remember, we're going to just hop to a new video together. Bye. Thank you for joining. Can't wait to see you next time. I am so bad at this.